Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in for Direct Connection. Coming up, tips for how not to pack on the pounds when digging into that holiday meal. But first tonight, we will dig into some dollars and cents questions about the new overtime rules. Millions of Americans are about to become eligible for overtime. Joining us now is attorney Julie Janofsky of Fetter and Janofsky. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks, Jeff.
So the world changes on December 1st. What's happening?
Well, next week, 4 million workers who are white-collar employees may be eligible to be paid overtime if they make less than $913 a week.
Which in annual terms is $47,000 roughly.
A little less than $47,500, yes.
Okay. So somebody who's getting paid hourly now gets an hourly wage, already gets overtime, they'll continue to get overtime.
Well, this law really affects white-collar employees who are categorized as exempt employees and who therefore are exempt from the overtime laws. A whole category of exempt employees will now suddenly become eligible for overtime if they are not making the threshold salary amount of $913 per week.
So the original law that set this up specified a base salary that was not adjusted for inflation over the years.
That's right.
And that number now is roughly $23,000. So what the Obama administration Labor Department has done is increase the number.
That's right. And what that means is they have brought under the law a whole group of employees. In Maryland alone, it will be tens of thousands of employees who work in white-collar jobs and right now work more than 40 hours a week without overtime pay.
So the employer then has the choice of paying this person more and continuing to do business the way it was, or what?
Well, the employer, starting next week, has to make some hard decisions with these employees. If the employee is close to the $47,000, roughly $47,500 a year threshold, the employer can comply with the law just by giving the white-collar worker a raise. But if the employee is making substantially less than the new threshold, then the employer has some hard choices to make. They can either pay the employee over and not give them a raise, or they can distribute the employee's duties to other employees and order the employee not to work 40 hours a week. But that may be very hard in jobs where employees do a lot of work outside the workplace, such as employees who travel and employees who send and receive electronic communications when they're not at work.
Let's, to maybe help people think about this, let's come up with a hypothetical fast food restaurant. No names here, but everybody understands there are people who are working part-time, there are people who are full-time, there are salaried people and hourly people. How would it affect this hypothetical fast food shop?
Well, many fast food restaurants have managers who right now are working more than 40 hours a week and who right now are exempt from the overtime laws, but who are making maybe $25,000 or $30,000 a year. Those managers now will not be exempt employees anymore starting next Thursday.
So that gives the employer the choice that you discussed. You can pay this person more, or you can tell this person, we're no longer going to have you work over 40 hours. Probably good news for that person either way.
Right. Or alternatively, you can pay that employee the same amount and adjust their wages. If they regularly work overtime, you can adjust their wages to account for the overtime that they regularly work.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about what happens to you under the new overtime rules, you can give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You could also tweet your questions. The Twitter address is @MPT News. You work mostly with employers, I would guess. What are most of them doing?
Well, we work with both employers and employees, and we've done a lot over the past few months to try to advise our employer clients of the new law and to try to get them to focus on their employees who are exempt and who are making less than $48,000 a year, to get them to focus on what choices they're going to make with those employees come December 1st. But we also occasionally represent employees who have been underpaid as well.
Let's grab a phone call from Charles County. This is Ernest. Ernest, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Yes, my question is, how do these rules impact, and how can it be accounted for the time people work from their computer at home, they answer questions on the smartphone when they're away from work? This seems to be good when people are in the office, but nowadays a lot of people aren't in the office.
That's a great question. Has labor law kept up with the way communications work now?
Well, this is a big problem for employees who must be paid overtime, for the employers of employees who must be paid overtime. Some employers have a rule that if you spend a substantial amount of time on electronic communications outside of the workplace, you must report that as time worked the next day.
Is there a, if you happen to glance at the phone for a minute, see there's a work email, read it, acknowledge it, it takes 30 seconds, how does anybody keep track of that?
Well, there's also a de minimis rule, which means if you spend a very, very small amount of time outside of ordinary working hours working, then that doesn't count as work time. But if it's 15 minutes or more, yes, that does count as work time for hourly employees who are entitled to overtime.
York County, Pennsylvania, this is Ray. Ray, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Yes, here my wife works in a fast food restaurant here. And what all the employers are doing, they're taking their salary that they receive, which is less than the 47, they're working 50 hours to receive that. So the employer just divided that so that the 40 hours they work is actually less money per hour if you go that way, so that their pay for the 50 hours is the same as it was before.
Wow. Interesting. Ray, thank you for that report. Is that, first off, legal, and is that a normal thing?
That's an excellent question, and that is one of the choices that employers can make for employees who regularly work overtime. In this case, they regularly work every week 10 hours overtime. The employer can do the math and adjust the salaries so that they are being paid overtime. That is subject only to the rule that they have to be paid minimum wage.
Do they have to have some sort of supervisory responsibility?
To be exempt under the white-collar exemptions that we're talking about, they either have to supervise 2 employees or they have to have other typically white-collar type duties, such as the type of duties that you would expect white-collar employers and managers to have.
Allegheny County, this is Lisa. Lisa, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm curious to know how this would affect somebody's retirement plan.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there an impact there?
No impact on your retirement plan.
Now, do states and localities have laws on wage and hour laws that might interact with the new federal rules?
Well, the state of Maryland has a minimum wage law, and right now the minimum wage in the state of for the state of Maryland is $8.75 an hour, and that will increase in 2017. So yes, that may impact the overtime, since overtime is time and a half.
Okay, so even before the rule change takes effect, where were the areas where you saw conflict regarding somebody should get overtime, somebody should not?
Well, a lot of employers believe that they can simply designate employees as exempt employees when they're not truly white-collar workers and then not pay them overtime. The employee still has to have job responsibilities that qualify them as being an exempt employee in addition to making the salary, the requisite salary under the law.
Let's take a call from Fairfax County. This is James. James, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, hi.
Hi.
I worked in the automotive industry where I could just about put everybody there on commission, and I was wondering how this would impact that because I had people working 60 to 70 hours a week.
And these are salespeople?
Salespeople, service advisor, parts people. You can take about any job there is and make it commission. Even the people who wash a car, you can pay them $3 for every car they wash.
Wow.
And I oftentimes did that to skirt overtime the way the law was before, and I don't see how this is going to have any impact, so maybe you could tell me how.
James, thank you for the confession, and the phone call will get you an answer.
That's a very interesting question. Automotive workers are covered under a different exemption that is not impacted at all by the change in the white-collar salary threshold law. So James is probably safe there.
For better or worse, the idea of overtime, I've always seen it as 40 hours a week. But I used to work for a place where we had a union contract, and beyond 8 hours a day, you got overtime. Is that defined in law?
Unions sometimes negotiate better deals than the law requires. The law requires overtime for all hours worked over 40 in a given work week, but the employer has wide discretion in how to set the work week. For example, the employer can elect to set the work week beginning on Saturday morning and ending on Friday night.
Let's grab a call from the Eastern Shore, Worcester County. This is Teresa. Teresa, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Yes, my question is, how would that affect in the Board of Education? You have managers that are working in the cafeteria and things that have to be there so early, and they're working over a 40-hour week. And how will that would give them a white-collar position because they are managing kitchens.
So, Teresa, how much are they usually making?
Probably, I would say between that 25 and 30,000. I really don't know the actual.
Okay. Thank you for the phone call.
Well, that's an interesting question. I'm glad she qualified it by saying that they were cafeteria managers. Cafeteria managers who are not teachers may be impacted by the new law. However, if they work for a government entity like a county, the county could elect to meet their overtime requirement by giving comp time. Only government entities can give comp time. Teachers, however, had she said that she was a teacher, or had she been asking about teachers, teachers are not affected by the white-collar laws, as lawyers are not affected as well, or doctors.
Okay. Before we go, let's recap what's changing here, because frankly, the word exempt confuses me somehow. What's changing December 1st?
What's changing is that in order for employers to take advantage of the white-collar exemption for their employees and not pay overtime for their white-collar exempt employees who work over 40 hours a week, they must pay those employees at least $913 a week.
Very good. Julie Janofsky with Fetter and Janofsky, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Jeff.
No extra charge. Coming up tonight, tips for healthy eating during the holidays. We'll be right back.
The MPT app puts our programs right at your fingertips, so you can choose when to watch, what to watch, wherever you want to watch it. Download it now.
There is one stage that is the Met and Carnegie Hall. It is the Kennedy Center and a club in Austin. It is closer than any seat in the house, no matter where you call home. PBS, the great American stage that fits in every living room. Supporting your PBS station brings the arts home.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
Joining us now for this week's Your Health segment is Courtney Ferreira, nutritionist with the University of Maryland Medical Center. Courtney, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
And I understand you're going to rain on everybody's parade. You're going to quash the party.
You know, I hope not. I hope I can offer a little bit of a refreshing idea about having a healthy holiday and hopefully let people worry a little bit less.
Well, Thanksgiving has a particularly awful menu when it comes to diet stuff. The mashed potatoes,
right,
the pies. How do you think about it?
So when I think about the holidays, I really view it as something that happens once a year. You know, our major eating holidays, really, I mean, Thanksgiving, for everybody, it tends to be Thanksgiving. I encourage people to indulge a little bit. It's okay to enjoy those foods that they love. I really think I'm doing a disservice if I tell you, skip, you know, your cousin's amazing mashed potatoes, make some cauliflower mash instead.
It's so popular.
You know, and it is delicious, but that's more of a tip that I would give for everyday healthy eating. I really think that for the holidays, it's okay to enjoy yourself, but focus on being mindful. Think about, you know, am I full? Am I hungry? Think about how much food you're putting on your plate.
Or am I getting seconds because I always do or everybody else did, or am I actually hungry?
Exactly. And I like that you brought up seconds. I really encourage everybody to take home leftovers. If you are a guest at somebody's house, it's such a compliment to say, hey, I really loved your mashed potatoes, but I'm really full. Would it be okay if, you know, I took a doggy bag and took some home with me so I can have it later this week? People are more than happy to share their food, and they're really flattered that you enjoyed it.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have any tips for us, any questions about how to not pack on the pounds during the holidays, give us a call. We'll have the number on the screen. We'll also take your tweets. Our Twitter address is @MPT News. Now, the whole tryptophan thing, is that the correct word for the stuff in turkey that everybody thinks knocks them out?
Yes.
Is that true?
So it is a myth. Tryptophan is in turkey, but it's also in chicken, eggs, yogurt, meat. So it's in a lot of different foods that we eat. It's just a protein that's in the foods. People like to blame the turkey for their tiredness. Really, you know, if you eat eggs for breakfast, you're probably not ready for a nap 2 minutes later. Really what's contributing to that drowsiness is it's accumulation of a lot of things. We're overeating, so our digestive system is working pretty hard. We tend to eat a lot of refined carbohydrates, so our blood sugar goes on this roller coaster up and down, and when we're coming down, we're feeling tired. We tend to drink, and mixing alcohol with your food is going to make you drowsy. And it's kind of a lazy day. A lot of people kind of sit around, you watch football. It's easy to feel tired.
Now, you've given us dispensation to not be all that careful on Thanksgiving, but if somebody's trying to be good, I've heard all these tips, like you have a glass of water, especially cold water, before the meal. Does that do anything?
It can help fill your stomach. I would really recommend that people not fast. A lot of people don't eat all day, and they're saving room for that big meal. You're not doing yourself any favors. Wake up, have a balanced breakfast, go for a walk, go do the turkey trot in your town, get active. And when it's time to sit down, enjoy those foods. But if you're in a place where you're not absolutely starving, you're more able to be mindful of what you're eating.
Here's another tip I saw: wear tight clothing. So
boy.
you're feeling that the belt is tight or whatever before you even start eating.
You know, if someone wants to go that route, power to them, but you don't want to have a stomach ache. You don't want to be uncomfortable. I wouldn't wear sweats, but somewhere in between.
Right. How about the menu itself? As relaxed as you seem about this, are there any changes you make you would want people to consider?
So I definitely would encourage everybody to have something green at the table, whether it's salad, whether it's some sautéed green beans, not the green bean casserole. Brussels sprouts are really big right now, and they're in season. You know, roast some Brussels sprouts. Having something green can help. And I actually would recommend that people avoid the filler foods. So again, we talk about enjoying our indulgences and those foods we have once a year, but skip the chips, you know, the little appetizer pick foods, skip the bread. You can eat those things any day.
Yeah, it's really not the special part of the meal. How about alcohol? I mean, that becomes a big thing.
Right.
Whether it's eggnog, which frankly I don't understand. It just looks too fattening. Yeah. But people like it. It's a tradition. Right. How do you feel about it?
So eggnog is definitely one of those foods that it's hard to make it healthy. It's loaded with sugar, loaded with fat. You know, an 8 ounces is not a lot. An 8-ounce cup is over 400 calories, portion size. All about the portion size. And don't drink eggnog every day for the next month. Pick a day to sit down, enjoy it, taste it, and then move on.
Let's grab a phone call. Baltimore County, this is Kate. Kate, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Hi, yeah, I was just wondering about food combinations. I've heard different things about what not to eat with turkey or what to eat with turkey, and I was wondering if there's any truth or validity in combining vegetables or starches together. Thanks.
Kate, had you heard anything specific?
I've just heard that in order to avoid sluggishness, there are certain types of foods that you should avoid combining.
Okay, thank you very much.
So she does make somewhat of a valid point. The tryptophan in the turkey, but again, tryptophan is in chicken, eggs, it's in these foods we eat every day. When you have a lot of carbohydrates in combination, some of the processes that happen in the body can actually lead you to feeling a little bit drowsier. So again, it's not just the turkey, it's the overeating of the refined carbohydrates.
So if tryptophan was so great at knocking you out, they'd put it in a pill and they'd sell it for people with insomnia, right?
So actually tryptophan is the precursor to melatonin, which a lot of people actually take to help them sleep. So yes.
How about folks who are dealing with medical conditions? Could be diabetes, very common. How should you approach the holidays?
That's a really good question. For people with certain diseases and conditions, it can actually be really dangerous. Someone with diabetes in particular, they need to maintain their blood sugar checks at their normal routine times. They need to continue taking their medications. They should avoid fasting. That fasting that we talked about that really nobody should be doing, especially if you're diabetic, you should avoid a fast. And they should really try and think about what they want to eat before they sit down and have all the food in front of them.
The fasting thing, the idea that, all right, I know I'm going to have a big dinner, so I'm either going to skip breakfast and lunch, or I'm going to have I'm going to be very good leading up to that big meal. Right. How can that be bad for you? I mean, it seems like you're taking in fewer calories.
Right.
And isn't it ultimately about the total calories?
Right. So you do bring up a good point. When we fast, when you finally sit down to that meal, your blood sugar is really low. You just have less control over what you're going to eat. Anything, you just want anything. So you eat quickly, you overserve yourself, and then you go back for more because you feel entitled to it because you skipped meals earlier in the day.
If only we all had more discipline, I think.
I know.
Let's grab a phone call from Cecil County. This is Mike. Mike, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Hi, yeah, I'm interested in the healthy aspects of the giblets and the liver and the heart and the gizzard, and I mean they're really, really, really good, and that's a delicacy as far as I'm concerned. What is the status of their health values?
Mike, thank you for the phone call. So does he get dispensation on that stuff for Thanksgiving too?
You know, they have a lot of iron. Go ahead. Don't eat them every day, but it is going to give you some vitamins and minerals if you enjoy those.
Do you subscribe to this idea that somehow the report from the stomach that says I'm full takes 20 minutes to get to the brain, and during that time we're still
eating,
packing in the food? That's really how it works?
Yeah, we need to eat slower. As a country, we need to eat slower. Chew your food, taste your food. Don't put more food on your fork or spoon until you've swallowed what's in your mouth. That is a big one, and it is hard to do, but that right there can make a big difference. And oftentimes people sit down and eat, and they're shoveling the food in, and then around 20 minutes later, they're almost nauseated. They're so full. Their stomach hurts. They have to sit down. They're really bloated. They wouldn't get to that point if they just slowed down that meal.
You mentioned the word mindfulness before, and I think, tell me if I'm thinking about the right thing. If I'm having some sort of treat, it's a bowl of ice cream or something, right, and you have the first bite, and then you start watching TV or whatever, and by the time you realize it, you've eaten the whole bowl of ice cream, and you haven't enjoyed it
right
at all because you weren't thinking about it.
Right, right. That's a real problem, and that's why anybody that I work with, let's say they eat chips when they watch TV, always put your food in a bowl, never eat out of a container, because it can be so easy to become distracted and just keep going.
So while everybody's sitting around arguing about politics this Thanksgiving, the thing to do is really think about the food and
right,
focus on it and
right,
enjoy it.
Right, and enjoy time with your family. Catch up with your family. Go outside and play football with your cousins. It doesn't all need to be about the food.
Very good. Courtney Ferreira, good advice from the University of Maryland Medical System and Medical Center. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Thursday at this time on Your Money and Business, mega cargo ships at the Port of Baltimore. What is the impact on jobs and the local economy? Plus the business of escape rooms. Join us for that Thursday at 7:30. And we're back Friday with State Circle and the latest on Maryland politics. Now, for all of us here at MPT, I'm Jeff Salkin. Thank you for watching Direct Connection, and have a good night.
Your health segments are a co-production of Maryland Public Television and the University of Maryland Medical System.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.